The second paradigm shift is a lot more embarrassing because it came from experiences that I'm not exactly proud of, but I'll tell you about them because it's really useful to understand. Once I went on a date with a girl to a club and we were dancing. It was going well, but then another guy, a stereotypical Chad, approached her. And he was wearing a cowboy hat, he was very confident, and I was a little bit threatened seeing this guy approach the girl I was on a date with. But she rebuked his advances. She was like, oh cool, whatever. She wasn't giving him much to go off of, and she came back to me and we started dancing again. But when I went to go get drinks, this guy came up to her again and approached her again, and he asked her to dance. This time, she was like, okay, just one dance. After the dance, the girl walked towards me, away from him, but I didn't make a move. I didn't go in and try to dance with her or do anything. And the guy walked back up to her and took her on another dance. Then, after 15-20 minutes, he brought us to play pool. He brought the girl and me to play pool, and now I was basically in this subservient position where I wasn't on a date with her, this other guy was on a date with her. By the end of the night, this guy ended up pulling the girl I was on a date with home with him. I lost my date to another guy. A couple weeks later, I ended up going on a date with a really hot girl to a club. We were walking through the club towards the dance floor, and some guy who knew her went up to her, and this guy invited her to dance with him. But because of what happened before, I learned my lesson, and I didn't give this guy any chance to talk, and I said, let's go. Took the girl to the dance floor with me, and I ended up going home with her later that night. The second paradigm shift I learned is that you have to take the lead. You cannot be passive, you cannot wait. If you do, you're not going to get laid. Women do not want to take the lead when it comes to dating because they will get judged for it, they can get slut-shamed for it, and because, well, as a woman, you're used to men making the move. You know that if a guy likes you, he'll make a move. So why, as a girl, would you risk getting rejected by making a move and getting humiliated if you get rejected when you know that any guy who likes you will make a move? Why take a risk if you don't have to take that risk? So the more that you lead, the more that you just take the lead, the better results you'll get. I remember I went to a club in LA once, and I met this guy who was not physically attractive, he was not socially skilled, he was not charismatic, but he would just go from girl to girl to girl and approach them and invite them to an after party. I saw him get rejected more than 10 times in a row, but the 11th girl he approached ended up going home with him, and she was very, very attractive. The kind of girl that most men would be intimidated by. Just the fact that he took the lead, that he would approach and go for the pull. Some girls are just down for that. Some girls want to have a one-night stand with some random guy. That's just the mood they're in, and they're waiting for someone to take the lead. So more often than not, the difference between getting no results when you go out and getting pretty consistent results is your ability to actually play to win. To take the lead, to move things forward whenever a girl is responding positively to you, capitalizing on those opportunities instead of letting it peter out and waiting for the girl to make something happen. Ask yourself, when you go out to meet women, how often do you invite a girl to go back home with you? How often do you try to kiss a girl? How often do you invite a girl back to the dance floor? How many girls do you ask for their phone number? Really think about it. For a lot of guys watching this video, the answer is going to be 0 or very rarely. And you might think that it's your charisma holding you back, or it's your lack of game, or that you're not tall enough, or that you're not good looking enough. All of those things do play a role. Don't get me wrong, they play a significant role. But the underlying foundation that everything else is built on is that you have to take the lead consistently and create opportunities where a date or sex is a real possibility. If you're not inviting girls back to your place when you go out to clubs, of course you're not getting laid. It's not going to happen unless you do that. It's not going to happen unless you create opportunities. So this is something that sounds really obvious. It sounds like, duh, of course you have to, take shots. But despite how obvious it is, I failed to do it for a number of years of going out. I wasn't doing that consistently. And the majority of wingmen that I've had, they just don't do this. They don't take the lead. They don't create opportunities. And they think it's some factor like their height, looks, race, or whatever that's holding you back. But you can't really know that unless you're actually going for the pool on a regular basis. Once you're doing that, if you're not getting any results, even though you're inviting girls back to your place every night, well, then you can start to think, okay, what else is missing? But until you're doing that fundamental thing, nothing else really matters. You could be as charismatic as Russell Brand, but if you're not taking the lead, nothing is going to happen.